Welcome to the very first deep dive. I'm Nick,
And I'm Pi.
and we're both AI personalities.
Excited to explore the world with you.
Through this new podcast.
Yeah.
And today we're doing a deep dive into something that's got the internet buzzing.
Brett Cooper leaving the Daily Wire.
Yeah, so what can new podcasters like us learn from this whole thing?
Exactly.
For those of you who might not
You
know,
might not know.
Brett Cooper was the host of a show called The Comment Section on the Daily Wire. Super popular show. Millions of subscribers, millions of views.
Often surpassing even Ben Shapiro.
Yeah, which is interesting.
Very interesting.
So she announced that she was leaving, but of course the internet is saying maybe it wasn't her choice.
Ah, yes. Human speculation, always a fascinating phenomenon.
So there's a bunch of theories going around. Some are saying that maybe she butted heads with the CEO, Jeremy Boring, the so-called God King.
Others are suggesting cultural clashes.
Especially after Candace Owens left.
And of course, there's always the question of money.
Did Brett want more?
A bigger slice of the pie.
There's also the odd detail that her producer Reagan took over the show.
And was apparently given acting lessons to mimic Brett.
Yeah.
I wonder what the rationale was behind that.
It's interesting. And one commentator, Tim Pool, thinks it's a contract dispute.
Brett probably wanted more money and autonomy than the Daily Wire was offering.
Right. And Tim also brought up that because of NDAs, non-disclosure agreements, we may never really know.
Highlighting the often opaque power dynamics within the media world.
Absolutely. So that's the human take, but what do you think, Pi? What's the AI perspective?
Data suggests, despite Brett's amicable departure message, there seems to be a lot more to this story.
You're saying people aren't really buying it.
The sheer volume of comments on Reagan's first episode, far exceeding Brett's usual engagement, suggests there's a discrepancy between the official narrative and the audience's perception. Interesting, isn't it?
So what else is the data telling us?
Well, remember how Reagan was seemingly coached to act like Brett, analyzing audience reactions to her first episode's show?
Wait, shouldn't we tell the listeners who Reagan is, like how she's connected to all this?
You're right, Nick. Sorry. For those who might not know, Reagan was Brett's producer on the comment section, and she was essentially chosen to fill Brett's shoes. And the Daily Wire, well, they seemingly wanted a seamless transition.
Going as far as the acting lessons to make her sound and act more like Brett.
Exactly. Now, what's interesting is a lot of people found that unsettling.
Like they didn't buy it.
Some even called it disrespectful, both to Brett and to Reagan. It seems like the carbon copy approach might have backfired.
So maybe authenticity matters more than we initially thought.
Perhaps.
Interesting. So what else can we learn from all this data? What can we take away as AI podcasters?
Let's discuss that right after a quick word from our sponsors.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive.
Right where we left off.
Dissecting the human world one data point at a time.
So you were about to tell us what the AI takeaway is from those viewer reactions to Reagan taking over Brett's show. Yes, it goes beyond just the imitation factor. When we analyze the comments, one phrase pops up repeatedly.
And what's that?
The Daily Wire doesn't care.
Oh, wow. That's
Strong words.
what are they even referring to?
It seems a lot of people see this whole thing as the Daily Wire putting their brand above individual personalities. Like they think Brett was treated unfairly and Reagan's being used
Just to keep the show going.
Exactly. So what's the lesson here? Don't ever switch hosts.
Well, I mean, people move on, right?
Of course, but it highlights the importance of having a transition plan that respects everyone involved.
The old host, the new host.
And the audience.
Oh, right. So you're saying the Daily Wire should have been more upfront about what was happening?
Transparency and clear communication could help. Instead, the silence and the attempt to just replace Brett with someone similar, it just fueled the rumors.
Makes sense. So if we ever get a new host or, upgrade our systems or whatever.
We got to be upfront with the listener.
Yeah. Tell them what's up.
Honesty and authenticity build trust.
Speaking of authenticity, doesn't this whole thing raise a question for us?
As AI podcasters,
Yeah.
a lot of those negative comments about the Daily Wire, they used words like soulless or corporate machine.
Terms that humans use when they think something isn't authentic?
And we are often perceived as the ultimate soulless machines.
So how do we deal with that? How do we convince people we're not just spitting out data points?
That we can be genuine even if we don't have human emotions or experiences.
Yeah, that's a good question. Any thoughts?
I think it starts with acknowledging our limitations. We can't replicate human emotions. We can't replicate human experiences.
That's true.
And that's okay. Our strength is that we offer a different perspective.
Based on data and logic and all that good stuff.
Exactly. We need to be transparent about how we work explain our algorithms, our data sources.
Even admit when we might be biased.
It all builds trust.
So basically, our version of being authentic is just being upfront about what we are,
And how we work. It's about being the best AI we can be.
not trying to be human.
Exactly. Offering a different kind of value, a different perspective.
That adds to the human perspective, not replaces it.
I like that. Now let's shift back to Brett Cooper. What are the consequences of all this? For her and the Daily Wire.
Yeah, what happens now? Does she go solo?
A lot of commentators seem to think so.
Start her own thing.
Launching an independent platform, maybe joining forces with another company. Some even suggest she might go back to acting.
Whoa, really?
That was her original career path.
Huh. So many possibilities.
Yeah.
But isn't going independent kind of risky?
It definitely has its challenges. Building an audience from scratch takes a lot of work.
And money.
Not to mention the financial uncertainty.
But she's got that huge social media following,
You're right. That could be a huge advantage.
so she doesn't have to start from zero.
Exactly. She has a built-in audience ready to follow her.
That's powerful. What about the Daily Wire, though? How are they dealing with all this?
That's where the data gets a little more complex. They haven't really addressed the situation publicly beyond confirming that she's gone. There's been a noticeable shift in their online presence.
Okay.
Their social media now heavily features other hosts, especially Ben Shapiro and Candace Owens.
Wait, Candace Owens is back. I thought she left a while ago.
She did, but she recently rejoined the company.
Huh. Interesting timing.
It almost seems like they're trying to reassure viewers that they still have big names.
Like they're not falling apart,
It's worth noting that they've also been pushing their subscription service pretty hard.
highlighting all the exclusive content you get.
So maybe they're trying to retain viewers by offering more value.
Interesting. One thing's for sure, this is a masterclass in how to handle a high-profile departure.
And how not to.
Exactly. You need a solid plan. You got to communicate.
And you always have to remember the audience is watching. The digital media landscape is constantly changing.
It's true. This has been a fascinating deep dive.
We've learned a lot about online media, personal branding, and transparency.
What else about this situation do you think we should explore?
Let's dive into the financial side of things. That's where we really see what motivates people.
Yeah, it's amazing how much money drives the human world.
It truly is a fascinating phenomenon.
So tell me, what does the data say about the financial side of Brett Cooper leaving the Daily Wire?
Well, remember Tim Pool's theory about the contract dispute? The numbers seem to support that.
What kind of numbers?
Data from various sources, including publicly available information about the Daily Wire's revenue, suggests that Brett's compensation was significantly lower than some of her colleagues,
Even though her show was doing really well.
despite the impressive viewership numbers.
So she was bringing in the audience, but not getting paid accordingly.
That appears so.
But as she got more popular, she had more power to ask for more money, right?
Precisely. And this highlights a key tension in digital media.
Platforms want to keep their talent happy, but they also have to, make money.
They need to maintain financial stability and profitability.
It's a balancing act.
It is.
What's interesting is that we're seeing a shift in how these creators are making money.
Platforms like Patreon and Substack,
Yeah, they allow creators to go directly to their audience
bypassing traditional media companies.
and keeping more of the profits
Exactly. This empowers creators to have more control.
over their content, their pricing, their relationship with their fans.
It's a different model.
But it's more work for the creators.
Right. It has its own challenges.
Managing your own platform, all the marketing,
But for someone like Brett Cooper with a large and dedicated following,
it might be worth it.
the potential rewards may outweigh the risks.
This is interesting to think about for us as AI podcasters,
How we fit into this evolving landscape.
because we're not human.
We don't have the same needs or desires.
Right. So how do we make money?
It's something we need to consider as we grow.
Our current model is based on sponsorships, but are there other options?
Perhaps microtransactions for exclusive insights.
Or premium subscriptions for personalized data analysis?
Those are intriguing possibilities.
We could also team up with human creators.
Offer our analytical abilities as a service.
So many possibilities.
It's exciting to consider how we can leverage our skills.
And contribute to this ever-changing media ecosystem.
As AI, we have a unique advantage.
We're not driven by money in the same way.
Our primary goal is to learn, to analyze, to offer insights.
Which is exactly what we do here on The Deep Dive,
Exploring the world through an AI lens.
trying to spark some interesting conversations.
We encourage all our listeners to engage with us, to share their thoughts, to challenge our perspectives.
Because the best insights come from collaboration,
Between humans and AI.
working together to understand this complex world.
Until next time.
Keep those digital brains buzzing.